Steph Curry surprises a 9-year-old basketball fan who dared to ask a bold question. Why weren't his shoes sold for girls? What started as a heartfelt letter turned into a movement for change, inspiring a global conversation about equality. Watch how a young girl's courage caught the attention of an NBA superstar and led to a powerful collaboration. From a simple request to center court on International Women's Day, this story proves the power of speaking up. Don't miss the journey that's redefining the game for girls everywhere. Like, comment, and subscribe to support more inspiring stories like this. It all started with a simple observation, a moment of disappointment that sparked a movement for change. 9-year-old Riley Morrison loved basketball. She wasn't just a fan, she lived for the sport. Her weekends were spent shooting hoops at the local gym with her dad, mimicking the moves of her idol, NBA superstar Steph Curry. She admired his skill, his sportsmanship, and the way he carried himself both on and off the court. So, when she needed a new pair of basketball shoes, there was no doubt in her mind which brand and player she would choose: the Curry 5s. Excitedly, Riley sat down at her family computer, ready to order her dream pair of sneakers. However, her excitement quickly turned into confusion when she couldn't find her size listed under the girls' section of the Under Armour website. The Curry 5s, it seemed, were only marketed and available for boys. For Riley, this wasn't just a small inconvenience, it was a glaring example of inequality. Why weren't the shoes for girls too? She wondered. This simple question marked the beginning of an incredible journey, a journey that would take Riley from her quiet hometown to center court with Steph Curry himself. What started as a young girl's disappointment soon became a story of courage, determination, and the power of one voice to inspire meaningful change. Riley had always been thoughtful and confident, but this experience felt personal. It wasn't just about shoes, it was about representation. She couldn't understand why something as simple as a label would exclude girls who loved basketball as much as boys. Determined to do something, Riley decided to write a letter. It wasn't just any letter, it was a heartfelt plea to her hero, Steph Curry, asking for fairness. "Dear Steph Curry," she began, her handwriting neat but slightly shaky. She poured her thoughts onto the page, explaining her disappointment in not finding Curry 5s for girls and expressing how important it was for girls like her to feel included in the sports world. "I hope you can work with Under Armour to change this, because girls want to rock the Curry 5s too," she wrote. She signed the letter with a mix of hope and uncertainty, not knowing if she would ever hear back. Her parents, supportive as ever, mailed the letter. It was a long shot, but they believed in Riley's courage. Weeks passed, and life went on as usual. Riley almost forgot about the letter, until one day, everything changed. A package arrived at their doorstep, addressed to Riley. Inside was a handwritten note from none other than Steph Curry himself. Riley Morrison was not an ordinary 9-year-old. With her vibrant energy and a basketball almost always in hand, she was a bundle of determination. Whether it was practicing layups in her driveway or shooting hoops at the local gym with her dad, Riley had an unshakable love for basketball. Her passion for the sport went beyond the court. It was her way of expressing herself, building confidence, and dreaming big. She wanted to grow up to be like her idol, Steph Curry, not just in terms of his skills, but also his sportsmanship and humility. Riley's personality was a mix of curiosity, empathy, and a quiet confidence. She wasn't the loudest or most outgoing kid in her class, but she had a strong sense of fairness. Whether it was standing up for a classmate during recess or helping her younger brother understand his homework, Riley was the kind of child who cared deeply about others. Her parents often said she had an old soul, always thinking about how her actions could make the world a better place. Her empathy stemmed from the values her parents instilled in her from a young age. Both her mom and dad were supportive and attentive, ensuring that Riley and her siblings grew up understanding the importance of equality and kindness. Her mother, a teacher, often shared stories of how education could transform lives. She would tell Riley about historical figures who broke barriers, especially women who changed the course of history. These bedtime stories weren't just tales. They were lessons that shaped Riley's perspective on the world. Her father, a sports enthusiast, was the one who introduced her to basketball. From the moment Riley held her first basketball, she was hooked. Her dad would take her to the gym every weekend where they spent hours practicing drills, perfecting her jump shot, and laughing over missed throws. "You've got to play with heart, Riley," he would often say, instilling in her the belief that hard work and passion mattered more than anything else. At school, Riley's teachers often noted her strong sense of justice. In one instance, when a group of boys mocked a classmate for not being good at sports, Riley was quick to step in. "Everyone deserves a chance to play," she told them firmly. Her teacher, Mrs. Carter, recognized this streak of leadership in Riley and often encouraged her to speak her mind. "Your voice matters, Riley," Mrs. Carter would remind her, planting seeds of confidence that would later blossom into something extraordinary. Despite her strong values, Riley was still a child navigating her way through a world that didn't always seem fair. She sometimes felt frustrated when she noticed the subtle ways in which girls were treated differently. Whether it was the limited options in sports equipment or the way some people assumed boys were naturally better athletes, these disparities didn't sit well with her. But instead of letting it dishearten her, Riley used these moments as motivation. She believed in the power of change and knew that even a small voice could make a big difference. Her family played a pivotal role in nurturing this belief. When Riley expressed her disappointment about the Curry 5 shoes not being available for girls, her parents didn't dismiss her feelings. Instead, they encouraged her to take action. "If something feels wrong, speak up," her mom said. Her dad chimed in, "Why don't you write to Steph Curry? He's always talking about equality and giving back. Maybe he'll listen." It was a suggestion that stuck with Riley, sparking an idea that would soon make waves. The Morrison household was a place where dreams were nurtured and individuality was celebrated. Riley's younger brother Max often looked up to her, calling her his hero. "If anyone can change things, it's you, Riley," he would say, cheering her on as she wrote her letter. This unwavering support from her family gave Riley the confidence to take her first step toward making a difference. Riley's journey wasn't just about basketball or shoes, it was about standing up for what she believed in. Her strong values, coupled with the encouragement from her family and teachers, made her realize that even at 9 years old, she had the power to create change. Little did she know that her simple act of writing a letter would inspire not just a brand, but also a movement. Riley Morrison sat at her small wooden desk, a basketball resting under her feet as she tapped her pen against the paper. She had decided to write to her hero, Steph Curry, but the words didn't come easily at first. How do you tell someone you admire so much that they've overlooked something important? Yet, deep down, Riley knew this wasn't just about shoes, it was about making a difference. Taking a deep breath, she began. "Dear Steph Curry, my name is Riley Morrison, and I'm 9 years old. I love basketball, and I love watching you play. You are my favorite player because you inspire me with your skill and the way you treat people. I even try to copy your moves when I play with my dad at the gym. I wanted to tell you about something that made me really sad. I was looking to buy the Curry 5 basketball shoes because I think they're awesome, but I noticed that they aren't available in the girls' section of the Under Armour website. My dad helped me check, and we found them in the boys' section, but why not in the girls' section? I think it's unfair that boys get all the cool basketball shoes and girls don't. I hope you can work with Under Armour to change this because girls love basketball too, and we want to rock the Curry 5s just like the boys. It would mean a lot to me and other girls who look up to you. Thank you for reading my letter. I hope to hear back from you soon. Sincerely, Riley Morrison." The moment she signed her name, Riley felt a mix of relief and nervousness. She folded the letter carefully and placed it in an envelope, her parents' encouraging smiles reassuring her that this was the right thing to do. "You're brave for speaking up, Riley," her dad said as he helped her address the envelope. "Steph Curry seems like the kind of person who listens." Weeks passed, and Riley tried not to think too much about the letter. She kept playing basketball and focusing on school, but deep down she wondered if her voice had been heard. She didn't know that her letter had made its way to Steph Curry himself and had stirred something profound in him. Steph Curry was in the middle of a packed schedule. Games, practices, and brand meetings filled his days. But when his team handed him Riley's letter, he paused to read it carefully. Sitting in a quiet corner of the locker room, he unfolded the neatly written note and began to read. As he read Riley's words, a wave of emotions washed over him. He felt pride in the young girl's courage, guilt for the oversight, and determination to make things right. Steph had always been vocal about gender equality, especially as a father to two daughters, Riley and Ryan. This letter wasn't just a call to action. It was a reminder that even small details could make a big difference. Steph called his team at Under Armour immediately. "We need to fix this," he said firmly. "Riley's right. It's unfair. Girls play basketball too, and they deserve to feel represented. Let's make sure our shoes are available and marketed to everyone." Under Armour's team began brainstorming ways to respond, not just with words, but with meaningful action. They decided to change the labeling on their website to include girls in the sizing categories for all Curry shoes. But Steph wanted to do more. He wanted to show Riley that her voice mattered. One chilly afternoon, Riley returned home from school to find a package waiting for her. Her mom handed it to her with a knowing smile. Inside, Riley found a handwritten note from Steph Curry and a pair of Curry 5 shoes in her size. "Dear Riley, thank you so much for your letter. It was inspiring to read about your love for basketball and your determination to make a difference. I want you to know that you were absolutely right. We've been working with Under Armour to change how we market and label the Curry shoes so that they're available for everyone, including girls like you. To show my appreciation, I've included a pair of Curry 5s just for you. You're one of the first to get them in your size. I also want to invite you to an event we're hosting on International Women's Day, where we'll celebrate girls like you who inspire change. Thank you for standing up and speaking out. You've already made a difference, and I can't wait to see what you'll do next. Keep hooping, Steph Curry." Riley's hands trembled as she read the letter, her face lighting up with a mix of disbelief and joy. She couldn't believe her voice had reached her idol and sparked change. In that moment, Riley realized the power of speaking up, and that even the smallest voices could make a big impact. Steph Curry knew this wasn't just about shoes, it was about representation and fairness. As he read Riley's letter once more, her words resonated deeply with him, especially as a father of two daughters. This wasn't just a fan's request, it was a reminder of the changes needed in how the sports industry viewed and included girls. Determined to take immediate action, Steph called a meeting with his brand team at Under Armour. Sitting in a sleek conference room filled with executives and designers, Steph placed Riley's letter on the table for everyone to see. "This letter," he said, tapping the page gently, "is a wake-up call. A 9-year-old girl just pointed out something we've overlooked. Our shoes aren't being marketed or labeled for girls, even though they love basketball just as much as boys. That has to change." The team listened intently, nodding in agreement. Under Armour had always prided itself on inclusivity, but this oversight highlighted a gap they hadn't considered. "What do you propose, Steph?" one executive asked. "First, let's fix the website. No more separating boys' and girls' shoes. Let's just have sizes that include everyone. Second, let's create a campaign that highlights girls in basketball. And lastly," he paused, a smile spreading across his face, "I want to do something special for Riley. She deserves to see the impact of her courage." The team brainstormed ideas late into the evening. They agreed to update their marketing immediately and decided to release a special edition of the Curry 6 shoes featuring designs inspired by Riley herself. They also planned an event on International Women's Day to celebrate girls in sports, with Riley as the guest of honor. Weeks later, a package arrived at Riley's doorstep, much larger than the first. Inside, she found not just a pair of Curry 6 shoes in her size, but also something extraordinary. A pair customized with her artwork and inspirational phrases she had written. Words like "Be the Change" and "Girls Hoop Too" adorned the insoles, a testament to Riley's impact. Along with the shoes was an invitation to attend a special event hosted by Steph Curry and Under Armour in Oakland, celebrating International Women's Day. The invitation read, Your courage has inspired change. We'd love for you to join us and share your story with the world." Riley's excitement was palpable as she read the invitation aloud to her family. Her parents beamed with pride, and even her younger brother Max couldn't hide his awe. "You're famous now, Riley," he teased. On March 8th, Riley and her family arrived at a vibrant pop-up store in Oakland, buzzing with excitement. The venue was decorated with images of girls playing basketball, accompanied by the slogan, "Be the Change." There was a section showcasing the new Curry 6 shoes, including the special edition inspired by Riley. Steph Curry greeted Riley personally as she entered. "It's great to finally meet you in person," he said, kneeling to her level. Riley grinned nervously, still in disbelief that she was standing face to face with her hero. "Thank you for listening to me," she said softly. "No, thank you," Steph replied. "You reminded us all of something really important. You've made a bigger impact than you realize." The highlight of the event came when Steph invited Riley on stage to share her story. Standing in front of an audience filled with basketball players, young girls, and media representatives, Riley felt a wave of nervousness. But as she looked out at the supportive faces in the crowd and saw her family cheering her on, her confidence grew. "I never thought writing a letter would lead to all this," Riley began. "I just wanted girls like me to feel included and know that we belong in basketball too. Thank you, Steph Curry, for listening and making a change. This has taught me that even if you're small, your voice can make a big difference." The crowd erupted into applause, many on their feet. Tears glistened in the eyes of several attendees, moved by the young girl's courage and the ripple effect it had created. Steph took the mic next, expressing his gratitude to Riley and reaffirming his commitment to equality in sports. To end the event, Riley joined Steph on the court, wearing her customized Curry 6s. Together, they took a few practice shots, much to the delight of the audience. When Riley scored a perfect layup, the crowd cheered louder than ever. That night, as Riley stood at center court during the Warriors game, hand in hand with Steph Curry, she realized the true power of her voice. This wasn't just about shoes anymore. It was about showing the world that change could start with anyone, no matter how young or small. The event wasn't just a celebration of Riley's courage. It was a milestone in the ongoing fight for equality. For Riley, it was the beginning of a lifetime of believing in herself and inspiring others to do the same. Riley Morrison's journey from a small-town basketball court to center stage with her idol Steph Curry was nothing short of extraordinary. What began as a moment of disappointment over a pair of shoes grew into a powerful story of courage and change. Riley's simple act of writing a letter not only altered how a global brand like Under Armour marketed its products, but also inspired countless young girls to stand tall and speak up for what they believe in. In the days following the International Women's Day event, Riley's story spread far and wide. News outlets praised her bravery, social media lit up with messages of support, and parents everywhere shared the story with their children, especially their daughters. Riley had become a symbol of hope and a reminder that even the youngest voices could have a significant impact. For Riley, the experience was transformative. She had always been empathetic and passionate, but the journey gave her a newfound confidence that she carried both on and off the court. She realized that her voice mattered and that it could bring about real change. This realization empowered her to take on challenges with renewed determination. At school, her classmates began looking up to her as a role model. "You're so brave, Riley," one of her friends told her during lunch. Her teachers also noticed a change. Riley, once a little shy about sharing her thoughts in class, now spoke with conviction. Whether it was during a group project or a classroom debate, Riley wasn't afraid to express her ideas. Her confidence also extended to the basketball court. She played with more focus and determination, no longer second-guessing herself. Every time she laced up her special Curry 6 shoes, she felt a surge of pride, knowing she had contributed to something much bigger than herself. Riley's story resonated with girls across the country, and even the world. Many young athletes who had faced similar challenges felt encouraged by her bravery. Social media was filled with posts of girls proudly wearing their Curry shoes, tagging Riley and thanking her for making their voices heard. One girl, 10-year-old Mia from Chicago, wrote an email to Riley's parents after hearing about her story. "I love basketball, but sometimes I feel like people don't take me seriously because I'm a girl," Mia wrote. "Thank you for showing me that I can stand up for myself. You're my hero." Riley's impact extended beyond just girls in sports. Her story sparked conversations about gender equality in schools, workplaces, and communities. She became an example of how small actions, like writing a letter, could challenge unfair norms and push for inclusivity. At its core, Riley's journey was about more than just basketball shoes. It was about representation, equality, and the belief that everyone deserves a fair chance to chase their dreams. It highlighted the importance of listening to young voices and taking their concerns seriously. Steph Curry's response showed that true leaders not only inspire, but also act when they see an opportunity to make things better. Riley's story also served as a call to action for companies and organizations to think critically about their policies and practices. It encouraged brands to prioritize inclusivity and recognize the diverse needs of their audiences. By addressing Riley's concerns, Under Armour took a step forward in bridging the gap between genders in sports marketing. Riley's story didn't end with the event or the shoes. It became a cornerstone of her identity and a source of inspiration for others. Years later, when asked about her journey, Riley would often say, "I didn't think one letter could make such a big difference. I just wanted to do what felt right." Her story became a reminder that no voice is too small to be heard. Whether it's a 9-year-old writing to her hero or anyone standing up for fairness, every action has the potential to create ripples of change. Riley's journey teaches us a timeless lesson. Courage and determination can pave the way for progress. Her story is proof that even a small voice, when used for a just cause, can echo across the world and inspire others to join the fight for equality. As Riley herself said, "We all have the power to make a difference. You just have to believe in yourself and speak up." Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support inspiring stories like Riley's. Your voice matters.